9 years have passed since the U-Wing first made its appearance in the LEGO Star Wars theme, and now, in 2025, we have an updated version based on the hugely popular and brilliant Season 2 of Andor. Star Wars is generally considered an expensive theme, so the retail price of £60 or $70 for this Rebel U-Wing Starfighter doesn't seem too unjustified, as the set includes 594 pieces for the main build as well as the 4 currently exclusive minifigures. Cassian Andor and K2SO are updated figures, while Dedra Meero and the ISB Tactical Agent are available for the first time in LEGO. This is the 4th Cassian Andor we've received, and he looks great in his Rebel uniform with his holster printed on the legs and jacket detail on the rear. You can also choose between this stern expression or this cheeky happy-go-lucky smirk. K2SO uses the same mould as the previous version, albeit with a slightly different print for the control panel on his chest. I'm glad LEGO kept the printed Imperial symbols on his shoulders as they really pop off against the black, while the white eyes do a great job of capturing his dead-eye stare. There's also a single stud on the rear which can be used to store his blaster. The ISB Tactical Agent makes a refreshing change from the generic Stormtrooper, and while there's only one facial expression, the overall printing on this figure is great. Although it's a shame we only get one in this set. And finally, Dedra Meero is an almost perfect minifigure with some fantastic printing for her Imperial uniform. Unfortunately, the print on her legs really lets this minifigure down, and LEGO should have gone for dual moulded legs instead to better represent her tall black Imperial boots. I found the U-Wing to be a really fun build, and despite its symmetrical appearance, it never once felt repetitive or boring to put together. You begin the build at the bottom, making this storage area, while the folding down doors on each side are the final steps to finishing this set. While this area looks the part, the size really does let it down. Aside from this small crate, you won't really fit anything else inside. You can just about sit Cassian inside while leaving K2 to pilot the ship. However, if you want Cassian to fly, then you'll just have to loosely sit K2 inside as he's too tall to stand and there's no studs to sit him securely. There's a small hatch at the rear which is nicely tiled off with these dark grey grille pieces and can also store a few of the accessories. There's also this windscreen at the front which again looks the part but can't really be used for much due to the size restrictions, and the doors function incorrectly as they should open by sliding backwards, not by folding down. Thankfully, that's most of my criticisms out of the way, as the overall design of the set looks great, with little pops of colour throughout with the occasional yellow, blue or grey tile. There are only 6 stickers used throughout, with 2 of these blue stripes, this yellow patch, a yellow stripe at the front, this control panel inside the cockpit, and this hard to see control panel inside the storage area. The 2 wings were fun to build and are surprisingly sturdy for their narrow design, although I wouldn't recommend trying to pick up the set by holding on to them. Each wing is clipped in place with these ball joints, and the same method is used at the rear when folding both wings back. The set does look awesome with the wings folded out and really increase its overall size. It's also safe to say it's very swishable, regardless of whether you have the wings folded in or out. The 4 engines at the rear look really neat with the identical sleek designs and are held in place with a few Technic pieces which should prevent them from sagging over time. I found it really satisfying building these 4 thrusters, especially when sliding these dark grey round bricks one by one onto the Technic bar inside. Most of the top is smoothed off with a dozen or so tiles, although it's nice to see the occasional stud to break it up a bit and give some extra texture. Thankfully, the cockpit is a printed piece and sits flush amongst these tiles. Although, there is this handy function by pushing this Technic bar, which will then pop the cockpit open, allowing for easier access. Unfortunately, the smaller scale is a slight issue here once again. I don't mind that the cockpit can only fit 1 minifigure, as the set would need to be considerably larger to accommodate 2. It's more so how awkward a figure looks when sat, or shall I say laying down inside. It just doesn't look that great from the outside. The front is tapered off nicely and does a good job at hiding this play feature when firing the 2 spring-loaded missiles, while the 2 cannons underneath are simple yet effective builds using just 2 pieces for their design. So with all that in mind, let's take a look at the pros. Despite the issue with Dedra Meero's leg printing, I do really like these 4 minifigures. It's nice to see the return of K2, and I'm so glad we got the ISB Tactical Agent instead of another generic Stormtrooper. The overall design is really clean and pretty good value for a new Star Wars set, while the ability to fold the wings back never gets boring. And finally, the cons. Once again, the missed opportunity for dual moulded legs for Dedra Meero, and although the smaller scale works well throughout the majority of the set, it really does impact the use of the storage area underneath, and again because of this, the doors function incorrectly. Overall, I'd have to give this set an 8 out of 10. While it's great to see a new U-Wing at a smaller scale, it does restrict some of its functions and the minifigures deserved better in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you haven't, then make sure to subscribe to keep up with future content. Thanks for watching and see you soon.